Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the new Chevy Tahoe with all of the seats. This is the Utah Special, truly. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith here in Spanish Fork, Utah, for giving me some time with this Tahoe. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering this is a 5.3 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around 10, 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 355 horsepower and then 383 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, I've already reviewed this package before. This is the LS, but I'll give you guys a quick refresh. Even though this is a baseline, it still has really cool lights here that kind of do like a fade in and out to turn on and off. Lots of painted elements on the front end, so it looks premium. And even look at the wheels, for example. You've got the silver with the gray. You got these nice fixed side steps, chrome badge. And when you look at this, it doesn't look like a cheap base model SUV. And then the key fob even has remote start. You got a power button, well, not power, sorry, unlock button for the hatch. The rear hatch is hydraulic with this version. Now with the Tahoe, it does have space behind the third row, but if you want tons of space behind the third row, you're going to want to throw it down. It is manual with this. You do have a little outlet there. But yeah, that's the first thing with the LS. You'll notice there's a lot of manual items compared to the power items you get in the higher end packages. But yeah, I mean, look at how nice these taillights look and the trim here on the back. It just has a more premium look, which I think is good because it makes it so that people feel like they're getting a nicer product even though they're not getting all the fancy interior features. The big thing with this one is the seating. So before we go over that, again with the nice stuff, look at the soft touch all over the door panel. That's pretty fancy looking. So cloth seats with this Tahoe, but you notice 1, 2, and that one's folded down, but 3 here in the second row. So we've got 3 passenger capacity so far. We also have a little climate zone for them. And then I'm gonna just pull this, and you notice 1, 2, 3 in the back. So 6 passenger capacity so far. We also have vents throughout with this, and push that up. So 6 passengers, and we haven't even gotten to the front seats. This is interesting. And this leads us to the front seat area where, again, nice trim all over the door panel, blind spot ring with the mirrors. And if you're wondering on payload, 1773. So even if your passengers are extra chonky, you'll still be able to carry them around. We've got the driver's seat here. You can see cloth. With that, you've got your power adjustments on the side. And this does have a 4-wheel drive system. It doesn't have 4-wheel drive low, but it does have auto and high. We also have a 360 camera. I'll show that in a moment. But you got like your lane departure, parking sensors, auto stop, start, parking assist. You can see light controls there as well. And we'll close her up. Look at that. So I've already gone over most of this, but you got practical controls on the steering wheel, like paddle shifters on the back, radio controls. And then you guys can see here with the big digital gauge cluster. And then again, you got that nice 360 camera system. But look at this, we got a bench seat. So it does still function as like a center console, but you can lift this up and you can have it be a seat. There's more storage underneath. This is the same seat that's in the 1500 series trucks, but it is in the Tahoe. So that gives us 9 seat capacity total in this Tahoe. Cause again, you've got the passengers. So 3 for each row. You get your climate controls, by the way, down there. And this doesn't have anything fancy, so like there's no sunroof or anything like that. So here's a window sticker for this Tahoe LS. You guys can see here, $61,000 is the base MSRP, so those wheels are an option. But notice that you actually get a credit for deleting the center console with it. But yeah, $64,345 is the total MSRP, which ain't cheap by any means, but not terrible in today's market. Let's see how it performs. Well, let us drive the Utah Special. Actually, let's turn this down. There we go. The Utah Special. And I do think this one is in the perfect place. This is, if you're unfamiliar with Utah, This is in southern Utah County, which is what I will call the Mecca of Mormonism. The reason I say that is Salt Lake, pretty much everyone that's LDS has left Salt Lake County. There's still some groups up there, but most people have left into Utah County. And when it comes to Utah County, I would say like the highest concentration percentage wise is going to be in southern Utah County. I mean, if you were just to go just random door to door, which I'm not saying you should do that, but if you were, and you were to ask people if they were LDS, everyone pretty much would say that they're LDS, outside of a few people, basically. But anyways, how does this drive? The V8's very smooth with the 10-speed. Suspension's comfortable. And this is why people, you know, not just with the looks want to get this over a minivan, but it's also just the comfort. Minivans don't have as much noise insulation. You hear more, you're lower to the ground too, so you just really get more road noise. Just more noise in general too. And then they're just not as comfortable. Like, this is a big, heavy body on frame SUV with independent suspension all around. So although it might not handle as well as a minivan because it's a bigger, heavier vehicle and higher up and all of that, it handles well enough for what it is. The independent suspension front and rear really helps out with the ride quality and the turn-in. It's a really solid setup, all things considered. Yeah, it's so comfortable. Like these Tahoes and these Suburbans, I mean, you can just get in these and just put hundreds of miles very comfortably. The cloth seats, I will say one downside with them, they are firmer, but they're not uncomfortably firm. They're comfortable enough, I would say. I think the nice thing with this versus minivans is there's only two minivans that offer all-wheel drive. The Pacifica and the Sienna. The Sienna is a 4-cylinder hybrid. The Pacifica is a V6. Chrysler reliability, right? Versus Toyota is reliable, but yeah, not a lot of power. 245 horsepower. So it's like if you want power, and then on top of that, you can tow with these. So I mean, these really are like the best vehicle you can get if you have a big family, because whatever you need to tow, it can tow it. If you need to fit a bunch of stuff, it's got tons of space in the back. And then it can fit tons of people with a bench seat. 9 people, that's a lot. It's like the average family down. No, I'm just kidding. I'd say the average family down here is probably, from, you know, most people I talk to, it's probably about like 4-5 kids. Yeah, the V8 sounds great. It's not the most economical, but it's not that bad either. You know, I'd say anything that gets above mid-teens, and that's what this gets, is good enough. It is good enough. Man, I really do like the thing about these NA V8s over the turbocharged engines is they're just smoother. It's a really nice experience when you're driving along. And the suspension's nice too. It doesn't teeter-totter as much as you would have with like a solid axle setup, which is also a really big plus. And the 360 camera makes parking great as well. The only downside I think with the new Tahoe with this bench seat setup is, from my understanding, you have to get the LS. You cannot get a bench seat in like a high country, for example, which, you know, obviously most people around the US are not having kids anymore, right? I think the last statistic I read was like 50% of people are not going to have kids, which is crazy if you ask me. So I get it, right? The market on this is going to be smaller, but I know that here in Utah, there's definitely a market for 9-seat luxury, right? The amount of, because, I mean, here, we'll just kind of have a little conversation about this. These are status symbols here in Utah, right? Because what it is, again, people want SUVs over minivans, but it's also like, Utah's definitely keeping up with the Jones. Anyone who's ever been here understands what I'm talking about. And so it's like, if you have one of these over a minivan, that means that your family is more successful than someone who has a minivan. That's just how people think here in Utah. And so with that status symbol thing, if they were to offer this in like a high country with the bench seat, like someone's like, I gotta have 9-passenger, but I also want to show people how rich I am. There is a market for it, although, yeah, a little bit smaller. I don't think it'd be hard to do. Like, literally all they have to do is, like, they already have the seat built out. All you have to do is just change this cushioning with the leather trim. You got to put the, you know, on the side here because it's exposed. You'd want to put leather there and then nicer trim on top. And you can still leave this be plastic, because there is plastic throughout the Tahoes and stuff, so that wouldn't be a problem at all. I think it would sell, at least here in Utah. I think it would sell. I think like that new Denali Ultimate Yukon, man, you put a bench seat in that and people will definitely buy it here. Like, yeah, no problem at all. Let me guys think about this. I think this is definitely useful, and yeah, it's an interesting spec, and they're not obviously not going to build too many of them, but there are people that definitely need this with how many kids they have or with how many people they haul around, which good thing we got it.